Hello traders, I'm Luke from Disciplined Trader. This video is just following on from the video that I've made about releasing the new premium trading journals, and in this one I'm going to run you through the spread betting version of this new premium trading journal. So the first tab that you'll be seeing when you open the journal is the Start Here tab, and this is just going to give you some basic information, a link to the community page, which I'll show you a little bit later, some general information about where to find further tutorials for these journals, a report, a bug section, and Q&A. Again, this is within the community for these journals. And just to let you know that these journals use Open Sans font, which is completely free. It's Google font and you can download it. And I've made a little tutorial within the community section to show you how to do this. Once you've read this information, you can obviously delete this tab if needed. Just come down, right click, hit delete, and this tab will be gone forever if you don't want to see it. So moving on. Dashboard is the main place you will come when you first open your journal, maybe on a start of a week basis, start of a month basis, or just every time you open it. And this will just give you a snapshot of what the account is looking like. It'll give you your basic journal statistics up in the top left with a win rate as well, win rate pie chart, and again, useful information like average hold time, your P&L, the current account balance, your R rate achieved, and your trade expectancy, as well as the usual stuff. And then we've got the three main graphs. We've got the equity graph to show you the equity of your account, a account growth per trade, so this will show you the change in your account on a per trade basis, so trade by trade, and then just a monthly account change percentage as you progress through your trading. This will just show you the months that you made a profit and made a loss in a really easy visual way. So a great place to just check in, see what your statistics on your trading are saying. This is what the dashboard is for. Then the spread bet version has a built-in position size calculator. So typically you can leave all these cells empty and this will be fine. The current trade log balance just lets you know what your trade log balance is up to without having to click on it. So the trade log will tell you what your current account balance is in the running account balance column, but rather than having to pop over there and check what that's saying, this will just echo that number for you so that you don't have to do that. So it just makes filling this in easier. So say we were eyeing up a trade, we can see that our account balance is 32615. We can enter that. We're looking to take a trade on the euro dollar. The entry price is 145.65. Stop loss, we're going to give it a 20-point stop, so it's 1.4545, and the take profit is 1.4600. We're going to risk 2% on this trade, so we know we need to enter £32.62 per point in order to achieve that. Now, obviously, there are other position size calculators available on the web, and if you prefer to use them, by all means do that. But this is just a simple calculator I thought I would build into these journals if needed. So it's there if you need it. Moving on to the trade log then. This is very similar to the free journals if you've used them in the past that I provided that you can find on the website. It works in a very similar way, just with some very key improvements. So typically when you're entering a trade, let's say we're up to a sort of a mythical date of the 1st of July 2022, just because I wanted to enter a variety of data into here. So we'll pretend that we're on the 20th of July 2022. The time we're entering the trade is 1 o'clock, so this works on a 24-hour clock. On the entry type, we're just going to enter trade because that's what we're doing. We're going to take that trade that we just did. We're going to go long. So again, we can use the drop downs on these instead of the free trading journal. You have to enter that in. We said we were going to get it 14565. We're going to enter £32. What did it say? £32.62. 32.62. Our stop loss was 14545 and our profit was 146. So we can see we're going to get a 1.8 R return on that if that trade works out. And let's just say that it did, 1.46. We got out. It took a few hours to play out, so it was the same day, that it completed, 2022, and let's say it finished at 7 o'clock. So you can see that it says we had an actual return of 1.8 as well. If this was slightly different, say 14590, this would change, because sometimes the actual return that we make will be different from the planned return, and that's a key thing to know as you're going through your trading, that sometimes the actual return may be different. And if you're one of those people that is taking their profits too early, this is a metric that will tell you that, because you will see the comparisons between the two. And then the trade results just lets you know the amount of the account you risked. We know this is 2% from the account position size calculator that we used just a moment ago. The gross profit and loss is just over £1,000. Let's say we had £10 of costs. That will give us our net costs, our net profit and loss, sorry, and then an account change percentage. It'll update our account balance for us. It will give us a trade duration, so we know that this trade took 6 hours to play out. Then it will let us enter a screenshot for the before and after. So what you can do here, you can come up to insert, link, and then a dialog box will appear where you can then navigate to a screenshot for this trade if needed. A really cool feature that you can do is if you use TradingView, you can use the screenshot feature on TradingView, and this will give you a URL, and you can just copy that, come over to your trading journal, and you can just paste that URL. He's now not going to respond. You can paste that URL into this box here, hit OK, and you can see that the hyperlink has been done. When you click that, this will just take you to the web page where that URL has been stored. And TradingView keep these forever, so it's a really easy way of managing your screenshots there if needed. And then, so what you can do, you can have one before and one after the trade, and then a discipline rating. So this is just how well you sort of performed on the trade itself. So if you think you did everything correct, you should give yourself a 10. If there was room for improvement, you might give yourself an 8. And this just lets you monitor how you are managing your trades, which is a good feedback tool. Any trade notes that you want to keep, this might be the strategy that you used or mistakes you made or just general observations within the trade. And then the last column there, deposit or withdrawal. This is used for when you want to make a deposit or withdrawal, funnily enough. So let's say on that very same day at 8 o'clock, 2022, 8 o'clock after we've made our money, we want to make a withdrawal. So we'd come down, hit withdraw. We can ignore all the trade details that we've just entered in for that previous trade, come all the way over to withdrawal and just type the amount that we're going to withdraw. So let's say we're going to take our £1,100 out of the account. Then that will then update our account balance for us for the next trade so that the account balance stays up to date, and you can quickly see that you've made a withdrawal on the account. And equally, if that was a deposit, you would just enter deposit, and that would again change the account balance. This will go to green to show that there's been an addition to the account. But yeah, that feature works really well. But the main feature I think people wanted to see was when we come to make scaling in or scaling out positions. So for example, if you're someone who doesn't have one entry level or just one take profit level, then what you can do is you will likely scale in or out. And recording this on the free version has been somewhat difficult. So on this, what you can do is you can just enter, say, the day, 2022. Let me change the time to, say, we did it 15 minutes after that initial one. Then we can enter scale in, scale out. Same market, euro, dollar, long. Let's say we got in at the same price, 145.65. So now instead of having, we do want to trade at £32.62, but we're going to change that to 22.62, and this portion is going to be £10 because that's the way I've split it. But you could split it any way, which way you want it. Just make sure that the entries, including, you can have as many scales as you like, by the way, but just make sure they add up to the total position size that you had. This one is going to have the same stop loss, but I'm going to aim just a little bit past that original take profit target. So now you can see that our R rate on this trade has increased on this portion because we've got an increased target. Let's say that we make that target. You can see that we then achieve that increased R multiple as well. And again, that happens a little bit after the original trade, 15 minutes after. And again, if the costs are again split over the thing, maybe you can put 5 and 5. Equally, you can have 10 and 0. What the journal will do is it will count both of these entries as one trade only. So it's not going to look at them as separate trades. So it doesn't really matter how you divvy up the costs for the overall trade. That doesn't matter. And again, you can have more screenshots for this if you needed. You get a duration for that particular portion as well, which is handy. And again, because this looks at these portions as the whole trade, this will take into account where you first opened the first portion and where you last closed the last portion. So it won't take an average of all the portions, because that would be wrong. It will look at the absolute length of that trade, regardless of, sort of the average price. That works correctly. Took some coding, but I got there. And then, again, you can fill in the rest of the details for that. But that's how the trade log works now. If you have any other questions on this, there are built-in tutorials on the community section if you do purchase this. So everything is covered in detail there, but in the main, that's all you need to know. Moving on to the trade summary, there's nothing to input here other than the date that you want to see. So as with the free trade journals that I've done in the past, this is just built on that. To be honest, we've got more data on the left-hand side, and again, more data split into month-on-month analysis on the right-hand side. So now we've got things like hold time, trade expectancy, total deposits and withdrawals. We've got the average discipline rating, which is good because you can see when you've had bad months where you've not managed your trades particularly well, you could go back to those months and give them some more analysis. But essentially, all your metrics that are listed on this left-hand side here. This section of numbers gives you an overall number, so including every trade you've ever made. So this could be over a number of years, depends how much data you've got in your journal. And then, like I say, this side breaks that down month by month, and you can change the year that you look at just by using the drop-down menu on the page. So this is really helpful to give you more analysis on periods of your trading that might have gone well or might have not gone so well. You'll find all this information on this tab. Then we have a graphical analysis page where you've got the time analysis across the top. This just breaks down your overall P&L and average result on an hour-by-hour basis. This just lets you see there might be a particular time of the day that you are making more money than others, and you might decide to restrict your trading to only these time periods. This helps you find those time periods if they do exist. And then other than that, we've got an overall P&L per hour. This is just sort of the similar data, but in a graph format. We've got a monthly account change percentage, so this will show you your account growth or decline month on month. We've got a trade duration versus result, and this again will show you the trade duration on the x-axis and the result on the y-axis, and this is a scatter graph, so you can see a lot of the trades recorded are somewhere between 0 and 5 days long, with a couple of anomalies. And this just gives you a sort of a visual representation of if there is any correlations between the duration of your trades and the result of your trades. For example, you might spot that the longer your trade goes on, the more likely it is to lose. This graph will highlight that for you through the scatter points that you see on it. It's just another good visual tool. Account growth percentage per trade. This just shows you the account growth percentage on a trade-by-trade basis. So each point represents a trade. Just a good visual representation of how your account's changing, and an end of month equity graph to show you how your equity is changing on a month by month basis. This will include deposits and withdrawals as well. So if there's a big drop off where you make a withdrawal or a big increase where you make a deposit, this will be shown on this graph. And then the last tab is just the journal variables tab. This just goes through basically the drop down menus for each of the things where they're necessary. So for example, in the market tab, we have a drop down for that, and that is taken from this market table. The only other thing on the spread bet that you need to do is let it know where the decimal place is that represents a 1 point pip change. So for example, on the dollar yen, if the price was 1.32123, it's the 3 that represents a 1 pip change. So it's the third decimal place, hence we enter a 3. Whereas if we were looking at a dollar Swiss, that might be 1.2345, and it's the 5 that represents a 1 pip change. So it's the fourth decimal place, hence we put a 4. That's the only other thing that you need to do on this spread bet markets traded table. Journal years is just the years that you're using the journal. So if you've entered trades for 2020, 2021 and 2022, just enter those dates in here, and then you'll be able to see them on the drop down in this menu. And then the last journal inputs can just be left alone. That's just for the trade log. And that's it. That's the run through for this spread bet version. As with all these premium journals, you do get access to the Disciplined Trader community, and this will provide you with all the support that you need to use these journals. There's journal tutorials for every aspect of using these journals. So if there's anything else that you think you need to know, it will be covered in these tutorials. And if it isn't, I'll add to these tutorials if needed. A Q&A section for asking any questions, suggestions for suggestions, and a report a bug if you do find any problems with the journals. Pop them in here and I will get them fixed as soon as I can. There's also a little bit just for general discussions and other things to do with specifically the Disciplined Trader YouTube channel if you're interested. So that's it. That covers everything to do with this SpreadBet Premium Journal. If you do have any other questions, drop some comments down below and I'll get back to you as quick as I can. Thanks for watching, and I really hope you like the journals.